Good morning, everybody. Myself, SONI CHANDAN from Meridian Academy. On behalf of Meridian Academy, welcomes you all in the in-house training program that is dated 9/1/2022. And today's topic is competency-based education. And myself is the resource person, SONI CHANDAN, PGT. Now, today's topic is, as we all know, that competency-based education. What is competency-based education? Competency-based education (CBE) approach allows a student to advance based on their ability to master a skill or competency at their own pace regardless of environment. This method is tailored to meet different learning abilities and can lead to more efficient student outcomes. Everybody is getting my voice? Everybody is getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
Now, this is the definition competency based education. Now, right now, we are going to define what kind of education nowadays we are prevailing, or what kind of new techniques we are going to introduce, or whatever the new techniques in education field we are going to implement nowadays. So, nowadays, in maximum schools, or we can say that in maximum colleges, the education system has been, overlapped with competency. Competency means the way we were having our teaching methods, or way we were dealing with the students. Now it has some, we have some enhancement in our education, and that concept is called competency. Means there should be some, enhancement in the teaching methods. Now, if we talk about old age is school, we were having, whenever our teachers was going to school, or in a class, he was taking the book and there's started, telling all the things, this, that, and everything about, about the schools and chapters. But nowadays, as we all know that, and yes, very sure, we have to adopt this kind of education technique in our schools too. We have to make a new frame of our old teaching methods to the platform related to the competency. Now moving on to this, we'll elaborate all these things in the next section wise. Competency based education. Competency based education helps individuals acquire or build the skills to match the characteristics of good or exceptional performers. you know the way we were doing our teaching education, we were dealing with the students. Yes, we do this homework, do that homework, this homework. But nowadays, as lots of technologies and lots of new criteria has been implemented in our school. Now, as we have done last day, that you might everybody have noticed, WhatsApp and whatever the thing is going on right now due to lockdown. You might have observed that many of the teachers, 100% of teachers, they have taken their classes. And we definitely we felt that the moment we took the classes yesterday in online teaching, we had a very great response, and the experience for that was also very good. And we were getting the pre analyzed form of data, like attendance, like how many teachers has taken the classes, what was the duration of the classes, how many students has attended the classes. Now, the main motto of today's topic is competency based education. Means the pattern we were having our education in some old days. Now we have to make an overlap the technique, the pattern into the new days. If we want to live in a platform related with the other school, if we want to compete ourselves and our school with the other school, we have to develop, we have to overlap the techniques of our education to the new one. This is competency based education. The new performer for today's education is competency based education. With the help of technology, we can judge, we can cross check each and every chapter, each and every student, each and every book, each and every format. With the implementation of new technologies in education, we are in a mood of implementing paperless work. All the things is going to be digital. We can look after each and every children, each and every word to their personal care, so that we can match the characteristics of good with exceptional performance. We can judge, we can we can differentiate whatever the criteria. We can make a chart based on whatever the record is there, because but in the old days we were very much unable to judge each and every student in our day. So nowadays we have to implement new kind of technology. This is called competency based education. Till now it is clear, everybody? Am I visible to everybody and auditable? Am I
Yes, sir.
audible? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, competency based assessment. The benefit of competency based assessment is improved clarity, transparency, more stimulus personalization of learning, helps shift towards a culture of assessment, students better understanding their own language profile. Overview. What is competency based education, CBE? How does CBE look like in practice? How you can consider CBE in your discipline? This is the some of the questions. Now, see, competency based education. What is competency based education? First of all, you can see that a lot of diagram is there. See, competency based education. From this, with the implementation of this new competency based education on mastery learning, you will be able to measure explicit competencies, clear learning outcomes and rating. We can develop rating system. We can differentiate, we can timely support to each and every student. We can have the meaningful and positive assessments. We can give meaningful positive assessments. Whatever the assessment we are going to give to all the students, we will be having with the implementation of this new competency based education, like personalized learning. We can have the advancement upon the mastery. That's why I have chosen this competency based education, because we if there is one example that, suppose that if you buy a new mobile, right? It let it be a low level cost of 5,000, but just after 10 days you will get a notification from that mobile, just update the mobile. So a mobile having a low quality is giving you a message, just within a 10 day, just update yourself. So if some of the teachers are following the old pattern, you will not just meet the requirement of today's technology or today's education. So you also have to develop yourself, you also have to update yourself in today's learning. So that's why a new kind of technology, a new kind of teaching method has to be implemented. That's why a name has been given, what that is called, competency based education. Now, competency based education, now we can have the picture for this. With the help of this competency based education, we can connect real world job skills. Nowadays, whatever the job facilities are there, you can't ignore any part of the job. It is not like IT. So suppose that if a person who is belonging to a pune category, he should also be aware in IT. The main motto of competency based education is that each and every person or each and every individual should be digitalized in the field of education. He or she should have a basic knowledge of computer, not in the field to become a programmer in IT or somewhere around related to the computer, but he or she should have the basic knowledge to deal in their field. For that, you have to be very much aware relating to the IT. Each and every time, if you are having an email ID, nowadays email ID is your ID to a world, like very much similar to Aadhaar card or PAN card or whatever the thing is there. So if you talk about nowadays, if your person is not having any kind of ID, like email ID or WhatsApp ID, that person is not recognized in nowadays world. So you have to be digital literate to just to come up with all the requirements, with all the facilities, and you have to deal with all the upcoming event. If you talk about critical thinking, some kinds of critical thinking is also there. Personalized learning is also there. If we use competency based education, the whatever the cost we were doing in our in any event, like for taking an exam, for taking online classes, we were using lots of papers, lots of we were using a equipment. But nowadays, with the use of this technology, we can reduce our labor, we can reduce the cost, and we can reduce whatever the pressure is there for a work. Everything is within the desktop or within a laptop or within your mobile. You need not to go anywhere. Suppose that if you talk about email id nowadays, if you talk about a days like 10 years or 20 years ago, when a person has to look into an email id, he has to go to email, and he have to log into a site, and he have to log in, then was able to get and whatever the message is there in the email id. But nowadays, the moment a message reaches to your mail id, then and there you gets the notification. So this has been a change. If you talk about nowadays, like shopping, nowadays we are using phone pay, google pay. What is this? So there is an enhancement in our pattern. So competency based education, there is also an enhancement in the teaching technology. This is called competency based education. We have to use that technique if we want to compete with today's world reality. With this we can have the customized curriculum. We can give the student access, who student is doing the access, who is giving you the response, who is not giving you, who is connected with you or not. So all these things are there. So is it clear to everybody till now? Is it clear to everybody? Can I have the response, please?
Yes, yes.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Now, CBE versus traditional education. Now, if we talk about competency-based education, now you can see a differentiation between CBE and traditional education. Competency-based is related to skill-based, so you should have a skill-based. It is coaching. It is self-placed, online, less expensive. Students finish as they are able to. So there is no way a student can do any kind of cheating. A teacher can have a complete review of a student. But if you talk about traditional education, it was based on contract hour. What is contract hour? Suppose that if a teacher is there and he is going to take a class, he is bound to do half an hour class. He is always looking the timing, and so the old pattern, he is following the old pattern. So nowadays everything is within the mobile. Suppose a teacher want to teach to any student, the teacher should be well prepared with the pdf file the moment he is supposed to take a class. Now, if a teacher is prepared with that, he can display that PDF file. Lot of support apps are there. So a teacher should be well prepared with that. He can display. Suppose that if a teacher is going to enhance on a topic related to volcano. Now the teacher should have a video or a multimedia video or animation video, so that he can display on a wall. And with the help of this, the teacher will have a very less labor to make a understand to the student, and student will also learn all the characteristics and all the process of volcano with the help of looking to the video. So in this method, the student has a very less labor, and the teacher also is having very less labor. So if you talk about an example, suppose that if you talk about Ramayana, I think 99% of people, they haven't read a book of Ramayana, but everybody is aware of this Ramayana. Who was Ram and what Sita was there? How? Because they have seen visually. So nowadays, if we take the method of teaching to a competency based education rather to the traditional education, the impact of this competency based education will be much fruitful. You will get the better result. The student will also be able to write the thing, because that is present in the mind, because that those students have seen the video. They can make their sentences or whatever the paragraphs are there. They can arrange all the words in a similar manner. So student is also barred from writing all the homework and fair copies, because the concept, the theme of that chapter is being present in their mind. So we have to adopt this competency based education rather than this traditional education. Instructing nowadays, we are taking online educations like this. Seat time more expensive, end of time, this term, that term, this, that means if we use these kind of technologies in our world, suppose that if you talk about the exam department, there was some the exam department is supposed to do all the paperwork, is to collect the data, this, that. If we use a software or a ERP software, a teacher is supposed to feed only a data related to a student in his mobile with an login ID, and that data is served in a server, and a person who is an admin, he is able to generate the certificate the moment he types the admission ID. So sorry. So if we use competency based education, the workload of exam department or whatever that department is there, it reduces. you know at that time there is no use of paper. You can have all the tabulation chart within a click of a moment, you can say within a click of all the things. Now if you move over to the next part, competency based education. Competency based education, or outcomes based, advancement based on the mastery of outcomes rather than seat time or credit hours, mastery demonstrated through assessments. Now, changing paradigm, competency based education. It is called credit hour, related to the concept mastery, focus on teaching, focus on learning. If we focus on teaching, it will be focused on learning. Time is constant, learning is variable. That means time is variable, learning is constant. This is the interchange nowadays. What we are dealing with, relating to competency based education. Greater focus on employer input regarding knowledge, skill, and aptitude. That is KSA, need for future employees. Now, if we talk about about an employee, if you talk
You
about
are
it, yes sir, yes sir, hello, yes, yes, yes. May I have the review, please? May I have the review, please? Please, may I have the review?
your voice is not clear. You are not audible enough.
Acha, am I audible right now?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Acha,
No, sir. Audible, sir.
now is it audible?
Yes, sir. I
Only
audible.
visuals is before us, but voice is not clear.
Okay, okay. Now, am I audible right now?
Yes, I audible.
Yes.
Competency based education. Now, should I need to repeat all the things one more time, or should we proceed? Okay, at the last moment, I will make a review for all these things, right? Now, competency based education. There are 5 parts working definitions. Competency based education. If we work together with relating to the competency based educations, there are 5 parts working on it. That is, students advances upon demonstrated mastery. Competencies includes explicit measurable transferable learning objectives that empower students. Assessment is meaningful, and a positive learning experience for a student is, you will be getting a very positive learning from a student. Last day we had an experience relating to that a number of queries were coming from the students relating to the online classes. Students receive timely differentiated support based on their individuals learning needs. Learning outcomes emphasize competencies that include applications and creation of knowledges along with the development of important skills and depositions. So there are 5 parts that we need to work on. Like, you have to be a very demonstrated mastery. With the help of this competency based education, you will be getting learning objective. You will be having very positive assessment, and you will have a very good experience. You will differentiate all the students in their manner, in their performance, in their ability, in their work, in their whatever the ASL or subject wise is there in experimental and whatever the thing is there. Now examples of CBE: non-credit, math and writing labs, accounting, medical front office, high school diploma classes, keyboarding, CET certificates, nursing, welding, not credit pathways, healthcare pathways, nursing assistant, medical billing, coding, introduction to medical assistant, general medical officer clerk. Now, some questions are there. Competency based education. Can more be done in competency based education? Can CE be done in census classes? Can more CT education be CBE? Can we, how can we encompass this? These are the some of the questions that will be, you have to give the answers for that. Implementing CBE, competency based education. Identifying outcomes, competencies is key. That means all supporting learning objectives must be identified and sequenced within a program and course. This is some of the paras how you implement competency based education. I'm going to repeat it again. You have to identifying outcomes, competencies is key. All supporting learning objectives must be identified and sequenced within a program and courses. Objectives may be used rather than outcomes, usually require demonstration of more discrete skills or knowledge. Identify and reduce or eliminate ineffective structures, practices, and expectations that may have been historically justified but are now impeding the efficiency of student learning. Now, wow, if we will implement CBE, these will be the things that we are going to demonstrate all the things one by one. Minimum hours and unit requirement will be there. Minimum uh, extensive hours requirement will be there. Required skills practice regardless of current competence will be there. Now, if we talk about, based on student and the classes on the schools, now some of the criteria are there. Design classroom and lab experiences with pre-assessment opportunities. These are the things how you will implement a competency-based education. Based on, hello, hello. Is there any query? We'll have a query in the last sessions. Design classroom and lab experiences with pre-assessment opportunities. Based on outcomes or objectives, determine the appropriate assessments and level of mastery. Pre-assessments may be the same or post-assessment, or the two may vary from greater demand on students. Pre-assessment may be integrated into early classroom activities or assessments rather than formalized as separate assessment opportunities. Instruction based on student learning rather than faculty teaching. Now, this is very important. Instruction based student learning should be there. You have to instruct, you have to make a theme, you have to develop a theme rather than like a faculty is teaching. The word faculty, that's why their name has been, there is a differentiate name relating to like some name are called mentor, some are called teachers, some are called instructors, some are called teachers, and some are called faculty. So there should not be any faculty, there should be a mentor or a teacher. Establish achievement benchmarks. Definitely. Establish program exit criteria. The moment you will implement all these things, though, so there should be an safe exit part so that you can have a review or the outfit or the feedback, whatever the thing is there. Now, thank you. Now again, I'm going to repeat all the sessions one by one, so you can have a now competency based education. This is the full definition. Competency-based education helps individual acquire or build the skills to match the characteristics of good or expressional performance. Competent the benefits. What are the benefits? Implicit clarity is there, transparency is there, more lists personalization is there, helps towards and cultural assessments is there, understand an old learning profile is there. For each and every student, we can develop a separate profile. All these things are there. We have a diagram for that. Like critical thinking, these are the diagram is there. CBE or traditional education, there is a differentiation between whatever we were doing in traditional education and competency based education. Competency based education is also there definition. So impact is also there. Five parts, what are the different kinds of parts are there, examples are there. you know Now implementing, how you will implement competency based education in now today's education, these are the formats. Now lastly, we'll having an assessment for you. So so any query from anybody? Now everybody is can unmute their voice, and we can share whatever we can have a chat for that.
Sir, how can one develop his competency?
To implement, the technique of education in a digitalized mode, reducing the paperwork, reducing the overload of a teacher. You have to change the pattern in an old form to a new form relating to a technology, so that we can have all the reviews in a digitalized form.
Thank you, sir.
Any more question from anybody? Any more question from anybody? Sujit sir, anybody? Are everybody present here or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, present.
Any
Present,
any
sir.
query? Any query?
Yes, sir.
Any question from anybody? Any question from anybody? Please, please, if you are having any question, feel free to ask me.
The session is going to finish. Anyone have any type of doubt? Sir is here to clear that.
Please submit your assessment.
No, thank you.
Everybody, please submit the assessment form. Please submit the assessment form. Everybody, please submit the assessment form. Now, any question from anybody? I would like to have some of the questions from everybody. There must be some some discussions. There must be some discussions.
Sir, have you shared the assessment link?
Yes, I have said to everybody. You can
Assessment
see.
link.
Yeah, yes, I have sent it. You can see the chat box. You can select the chat to everybody. You can have it.
Assessment is given.
Assessment. I have given the assessment link. You can check it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Fill the form. Okay. Now enjoy yourself. Everybody has got the assessment link, because after this session you will not be getting any assessment. So everybody is requested, please click on this assessment form, because the moment I'll just quit from here, you will not be getting the assessment link. Is the assessment link working?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir, working.
Kajal.
Sir, here is teacher ID. That is of 8 digit.
Acha.
But I have just 6 digit. 95 78 10.
You can write any digit, MER, like was
Okay.
whatever the digit here there, just write down that and write down OS, or write down M. Just write down your number, ID, and if any space is left, just feed the M in that part. Again, I'm going to review all the things again one by one.
Entry-based education.
Again, I'm going to repeat one again. See all this. I'll also be giving this. I will also be giving this, file to everybody. So I think no query is there. Everybody is quite enough to feed the form. Is the form is feedable for from everybody? हेलो, क्या क्या
Yes,
फॉर्म
yes.
Yes,
क्या
sir.
सब फॉर्म भरा जा रहा है? फॉर्म भर सकते हैं आप लोग?
भर रहे हैं.
Is it designed in nice manner?
Yes, yes.
After
I
the
have filled
yes,
and share the screenshot in the STNC group.
actually I'm okay.
I have submitted.